You don't need to have seen Limitless, the movie, to enjoy Limitless, the TV show. Our approach to that is that it is a continuation, a different story that exists in the same universe, and occasionally intersects with the events of the movie. But you don't need any kind of backstory at all. All of the events of Limitless, the movie, happened in our universe. We're telling a different story about a different character. And anytime we introduce or incorporate elements from the movie, we explain them within the body of that show, as you see in the pilot with Bradley Cooper's character. I could tell instantly that he had the essence of what I wanted for the part, which was an essential, that there was an intelligence there, but there's also an essential sort of good nature and sweetness. And I mean, a lot of what makes him great for Brian is that the essence of him as a person is close to the character that I wrote, which isn't to take anything away from his excellent performance. But I think the best acting happens when you have the right intersection of real person and fictional role, and I really feels like we've got that with Jake. The role is dynamic in a lot of the same ways that Bradley's role was dynamic in the movie, in that you get to play essentially two characters. You get to play Jake. In Jake's case, he gets to play Brian Finch on the pill and Brian Finch off the pill, and he gets to show a lot of different colors and sort of express the full range of his talent. Jake can do anything. He's a very funny guy. He's a very sincere guy. He's a great dramatic actor, and he's going to get to show all of that off. So I absolutely think it has the potential to be a breakout part for him. And I wouldn't want anybody else in the role either. I think he's fantastic.
I love the movie. The movie was fantastic, and Bradley was so incredible. And the idea of taking an idea like that and bringing it to television seemed like a no-brainer for us. It's different in that each episode you can expect a standalone story. There'll be a beginning, middle, and an end, but there'll be an ongoing serialized element to what is the mystery of Eddie Mora? How does he play into the bigger show? What's he doing with Brian? Does he have a plan? Is he good? Is he bad? He's finding himself in a dead-end job with no real prospects, and one day an old friend comes along and offers him a pill called NZT, and he tells him it's going to change his life. And the minute Brian takes the pill, his life does change. He accesses parts of himself that he never knew were there, 100% of his brain capacity, but ends up embroiled in a murder plot and has to prove his own innocence.
The show is about a young man named Brian Finch, who's played by Jake McDorman, who comes into contact with a pill called NZT, which unleashes all of your massive intellectual potential. He helps the world because of it. I was touched. There's an emotion to it. This character has a heroic impulse that I found very attractive. I think there is a universal appeal to the idea of, I think we all in some way feel that we could always be doing better. And this pill allows us to feel like we are living up to our full potential, which is such an exotic, exciting idea. Of course, there's consequences to that. The series is, in some ways, a sequel to the Bradley Cooper movie called Limitless. It was directed by Neil Berger. And the pill has the same properties that it does, and it's the same kind of pill, same world as the film. Of course, it takes place a few years later.
What would happen if you had a pill that could open 100% of your brain? And what would you do with it? And we follow this guy played by Jake McDorman, who's fantastic. And he's someone who sort of hasn't quite met up to what he thinks the potential in his life could be. And he comes across an opportunity to open up his mind in such a way that all of his wildest dreams can be realized. But there are consequences with that. And in there lies the story of the pilot. And that takes us through to the series and how he has to survive, bridging that gap between a normal life and a life on this drug called NZT that allows him that limitless possibility of his brain capacity. We had talked about it a lot, actually, once the movie had been successful, that there seems like such a potential for more story. And we were lucky with the other collaborators to come up with an idea and see it to fruition. I would say, like the movie, it's a hard thing to pin down. I mean, it is dramatic, but it's also action-packed, and it also has a sort of a quirky side. that you could see in the style, and but in a way that's approachable and innovative. I think it is really sort of a fresh approach to an episodic of this kind of nature.